Okay guys, so this is going to be my Christmas special 2024. If you've got family members that you know that are into axes, or maybe you got family members or friends that you don't know what they want, but you might want to buy them an axe, watch this video. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of different options to look at. And just know all these axes that I'm about to show you guys, I've reviewed and I'm willing to tell you guys they're worth buying. Everything from budget axes to expensive axes to hatchets, throwing axes, and at the end of the video, I'm even going to give you guys some stocking stuffer ideas. So before we get into everything, I do want to let you guys know this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy one. So sit down, relax, grab a drink, grab some food, and kind of just hang out with me while I go through everything. And it's going to be a fun one. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am Wes, the Suburban Viking. I am Midgard Axe. Of course, you guys know that already, but that was just for the new people. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. That's who I am. Two things before we get started. Number one, that is not a prop. I am partaking. And number two, I didn't plan on standing in this video. Just being honest with you guys. I was going to sit down at the desk and look at the computer because that's where all my list of axes are. However, I moved the room around. I can't get the right angle, so we're just going to stand. Okay, so here's how the video is going to roll. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I've got budget and expensive. We're going to start with budget hatchets. Now, I categorized hatchets as anything from 17 inches and below. That's where we're going to start at. And we're going to start with friction fit style axes. For some of you that don't know, a friction fit style axe is an axe where a handle slides in from the axe head down and then securely locks into place, okay? You can replace the handles really easily. You can collapse them down. You can take the axe head off, put it in the bag, put it wherever, and you can take it around with you. It's really easy, really simple to use, and it's really simple to replace the handles. As you guys know, one of my favorite budget axes is the Kings County Tools Tomahawk Hatchet. This one here. I've done a whole review on this axe, and I've also done a lot of mentioning of this axe in videos when I've compared other axes to this one. For high 30s, low 40s, this thing is awesome for axe throwing. You could do some work with it, some chopping work, maybe a little bit of carving work with it. It is really head heavy, but this would be a great axe to give someone for a gift because it's not very expensive, but it's of decent quality, meaning it's going to be a great flyer and you could use it for other tasks as well. I have put this thing through its paces, doing a whole video on it, throwing it now for over a year. This thing is a beast, and I will always recommend this axe. The reason why I recommend this too is because most friction fit style axes that I've dealt with in the past, they don't have the best fitment with the handle that they come with. This one here is great. And you guys don't know, I've got a sample of two, and I've been throwing both of them, and both have sat very well on the actual axe handle with very little movement coming off when I've thrown it hard or missed or whatever. So consider the Kings County Tools Tomahawk Hatchet as a gift to a loved one or a friend. I think they won't be disappointed, and it'll save you a little bit of money buying this. Next one up on the list is the CRKT Woods Choking Tomahawk. Unfortunately, I don't have that one to show you because I use it as a giveaway, but I will say that thing is awesome. It flies really well in the air, and it does really well for distance throwing. That thing is coming in around like 60, 70 bucks, somewhere in there. But man, that thing is awesome. I'm not a huge fan of some CRKT products, which I've voiced on this channel before, but that one right there is really good. I also believe that that one beats out the Berserker because it flies really well for distance. Up close, you can throw it hard, and when you step back to throw it for double, triple, quadruple rotations, that thing has no wobble in it at all. It's weighted very nice, and it has a really good fitment on that handle. So check out the CRKT Wood Choke and Tomahawk. I think that would be a really good gift, and I plan on getting another one here soon. And bringing up the rear for the friction fit style axes is the Viking hand axe from Cobalt Steel. The reason why I'm bringing you guys this one last is because sometimes the handles that come with it aren't the best. They don't fit the axe head very well, okay? They do come with a 30-inch handle, and I normally cut mine down at 15 inches. I've done a video of this in the past, and as you guys know, I've got 3 of these. My wife and kids love throwing this one, and I enjoy throwing this one too for distance. However, I would say if you bought this axe for someone for Christmas, I would give it to somebody who already knows what they're doing with axes or has a little bit of experience, because this one's going to take a little bit of modification, especially if it comes with a handle that's not that great, okay? The bit has a really hard point, so you're going to have to file down the cheeks and file the bit down to give it more of a narrow profile, because sometimes when you throw it to the target, it wants to bounce back. And I think the handle being at 30 inches is a little bit ridiculous for this thing. Cut it down to 15, thin the cheeks and the bit down, and it's a really good flyer, okay? But like I said, I would give this to somebody who knows what they're doing. But it's a sleeper. A lot of people don't consider this for axe throwing, but for $30-some, you can cut the handle down, thin the bit and the cheeks down, and you can throw this thing all day long, and this thing flies really well for distance. That's why I have 3 of them, and they're also great for beater axes. You can leave them out in the yard, take them out, cut little limbs up, cut, limbs that fall in your yard or whatever the case may be. They're just great for pounding roots and things like that. So consider the Cobalt Steel Viking hand axe for a gift. If they know what they're doing, I would give them this one. They can modify it and make it a really cool throwing axe. Okay, so getting into the all steel and traditionally hafted axes, I'm going to start with the USA made S-Wings. You guys know that when I started this channel, I started doing reviews. My very first review was an S-Wing Hatchet. It had the rubber grip on it. This one here is the Sportsman's model. It's got leather wrapped around it with a clear coat over top of it. These things are great. Number one, they're made in the USA. So if you care about that, these are made in the USA. Number two, they're all steel, so you can throw these things, miss them, beat them up against the target, just kind of tear them up and they're not going to break. These things fly really well for axe throwing. I've taken these things back for triple and quadruple rotations, and they fly just as well back there as they do up close. Also, too, these things are multi-purpose tools. Not only can you use it for axe throwing, but you can use it for normal chopping work, like camp style work. Anything that you want to think about, you can use this hatchet for. It's a great little hatchet. So if you consider giving your loved one or your significant other or a friend a hatchet, go with the S-Wing. You can't lose with these things. These things are great, and they're not very expensive, and you're promoting a USA brand hatchet. Why not? Next one up on the list is the Cobalt Carpenters hatchet. You can get this one at Lowe's. It doesn't have the best steel quality, and you will have to sharpen it a lot, but it holds its edge pretty well. As you guys know, I did a review on this one, and I did a review on another Cobalt hatchet. Like I said, the steel's a little soft. However, these hickory handles that they put on these things are beasts. I beat both of these handles up and they've worked really well. And this one right here flies incredibly well for single, double, and triple rotations. And it's a carpenter's hatchet, so you can use it as a multi-purpose tool. I know you can go down to your local Lowe's and pick one of these up, and it's very easily accessible. And that was another reason why I chose this one, because it's pretty easy to get. So consider the Cobalt Carpenter's hatchet. I know it's a cheap one. However, it's definitely worth the money, and I still throw mine to this day. The Kova Blackthorn is another really cool hatchet you can consider for a gift. Now, it's an all-steel axe, so it's pretty indestructible. It does have G10 grip panels that feel really good in the hand. It has a bit in the front, a bit on the top, and then a spike on the back. It does have a lanyard hole at the bottom, so you could tie some paracord around. This thing came with a really cool sheath, a very tactile sheath that you can take out really quick. And it looks really cool in the box that it comes with. It's shadow boxed in there, and it makes a really good present, you know, giving it to somebody. I've tested this thing for a while now, and I've been throwing it for a really long time. Now, I will tell you guys that all the hatchets so far that I've mentioned, this one's going to be the hardest one to throw. I will be honest. However, once someone takes this and starts throwing it, they're really going to enjoy it, because this type of hatchet here gives you a lot of different options, meaning you can pretty much stand wherever you want to stand at and it'll stick. You can stick the bit here like this. You can stick the bit here like this. You can even stick the spike in the target like this. So basically what I'm saying is that it builds confidence. You can stand where you want. You can throw this hatchet. It'll stick, and it'll get somebody sticking an axe throwing that may have had a little bit of issues throwing a traditionally hafted axe with one bit on it. It's very cool. It's nicely weighted. You can use it for different things if you wanted to, but this thing would make a really cool gift. And I've experienced this thing for a while now, and I've had a really good time throwing this. So consider the Kova Blackthorn. It's coming in at probably around $80. It's probably one of the most expensive budget axes I've got on the list, but I think it's totally worth the money, and I think whoever you got it for would really enjoy it. You guys know I'm going to bring a Council Tool into this one, the Council Tool Double Bit Saddle Axe. Now, yours that you buy won't look like this one. This one's been modified, but all in all, it looks about the same, okay? This thing is great because it is a multi-purpose tool. This thing flies really well and it hits really hard. It's got a really heavy head on a short handle, but I will say that it feels really good in the hand, okay? The reason why I say it's a multi-purpose tool is because not only can you use it for axe throwing, but you can also use it for day-to-day work. And the cool thing about it is that it's a double bit, meaning that it's got a bit on this side and a bit on this side. So each bit is different. One side of the bit is really designed for chopping work, and the other side is designed for maybe more of a heavy style bit. You can do some really hard chopping, and you can do some splitting work. So this thing here is really cool, and I will tell you guys, most people have normal hatchets, normal axes, but a lot of people don't have double bit saddle axes, really short, small double bits. This thing right here would be a really cool gift. I think they're coming in at around like $65, $68, somewhere in there. But if you wanted to put a smile on someone's face on Christmas, I would get them this one. It's really fun to throw, and it's also a really cool hatchet, axe, double bit, whatever you want to call it, to kind of take around with you and use working wise and throwing. So consider this one, the Council Tool Double Bit Saddle Axe. I'm not going to be able to go over every detail of every axe presented in this video. It'd be too long, but I am presenting the axes to you that I think are worth buying as Christmas presents, okay? So do your own research on some of these, but I'm just letting you guys know that I'm giving you guys axes that I think are worth buying. Everybody on the channel already knows how much I love this axe, and I'm going to give you guys some information. Coming in at about $40, $45. It's from Italy. It is a great axe. However, I would only give it to somebody who has axe experience, someone who knows what they're doing with axes, or someone who wants to modify an axe, and that's the Rinaldi Milano Carpenters axe. Now, the reason why I say you should do that is because this thing comes as a friction fit style axe. However, the handle that comes with it is horrible. Take it off, throw it away. This head should be hafted on a traditional axe handle, traditionally hafted. Once you do that, you can modify it, and this thing is great for axe throwing, and it's also great for doing multi-purpose work. It flies extremely well for distance and up close, and it hits really hard. You can modify the hell out of this thing. Now, as you guys see here, if you go look at the Milano axe, it doesn't look like this. I've completely modified it, but it is a great axe for someone who wants to get into modifying axes. But if you mess up, you're not going to, your feelings aren't going to get hurt because you didn't spend hundreds of dollars. You spent $39, $42, somewhere in there. So if you want to give a gift to someone who already has experience with axes, maybe they want something different, or they want to modify it, consider the Rinaldi Milano Carpenters hatchet or axe. I love this thing. And last but certainly not least is the Council Tool Hudson Bay Camp Axe. Fortunately, guys, I don't have that one on me because I gave it away as a giveaway. But that little axe there is great from Council Tool. It is a great multi-purpose tool. As you can see here, I'll roll some video in now of me throwing that thing. It is a really good axe for axe throwing, maybe about a single rotation. And it's also really great for camp work, splitting work, and you can do a lot of chopping work with it too. It is designed a certain way, so it's not the best at axe throwing, but at a single rotation, that thing is a laser beam. A lot of the weight is in the pole, so you really can't take it back for distance. However, if you wanted to just do a single rotation and you wanted to be able to use it for everyday work, the Council Tool Hudson Bay Camp Axe is a great little axe, and I think anybody would love to have that thing. The edge retention is really good, and of course, guys, it's made from Council Tool, which puts out some pretty good axes and hatchets, but that thing is awesome. So consider that one if you want to give someone a gift that maybe wants to do a little bit of axe throwing, maybe up close, but really does more work, you know, chopping and maybe doing a little splitting work. If that's something that's not too long, that would be a good axe to go for. So let's get into the expensive hatchets. And of course, guys, I'm going to start with the Swedish Brook Carpenter's axe. As you guys know, I love this thing. I've done a review on them. I've got a bunch of them. They're great. The reason why I think they're so great is for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, they're great multi-purpose tools. You can use them for carpentry. You can use them for chopping. You can also use them for axe throwing. I've shown that previously, okay? Now, the reason why I like Brook Carpenters axes so much is because the handles that come on Brook axes, American hickory handles, are really great. They're normally strong hickory handles. They do a really good job hafting them on their axe heads, okay? The tempering on the Brook axes is done normally very well, and they hold their edge sharp for a while, okay? So you can get quality out of these. And I will tell you, they're north of $200. So if you plan on buying someone a really expensive axe that you care about, consider the Brook Carpenter's axe. I love these things, and I've shown how well they fly in the air and how well you can use them for different things. Great axe. You want to buy a Gucci axe for somebody? Get them the Brook Carpenter's axe. Won't go wrong with it. The Hilco Vuck, a Rinin hatchet. These things are made in Germany, and you can get them on Amazon. And you can retain the warranty if you buy them on Amazon. The reason why I like these hatchets so much is because they're compact, about 14 inches. They use hickory handles that are really tough, and they have really big bits on them, okay? So not only can you use them for axe throwing, but you can also use them for chopping. They're weighted really nice, and they fly really well for distance, and you can throw these things really hard up close. They sink really deep in the target, and they have a really nice bit and cheek profile. I will tell you they're expensive. They're around $160 to $170. You do get a really nice sheath with it, and you get some oil with it, but I will tell you that Hilco normally puts out some great axes, and the tempering on these things are really good too, which means that they'll hold their edge for a while. So if you want to get someone an expensive hatchet, compact, with a really big bit, consider the Rinin hatchet. They're really nice, and they throw really well, and you can use them as an everyday use multi-purpose tool. The CRKT Jenny Ren is another expensive little hatchet, coming in a little over $100, but this thing is awesome for axe throwing. And if you wanted to give this to someone who's a sportsman, who wanted to pack it up, take it with them hiking, whatever you want to do with it, it's really cool. The reason why I like these is because they're all steel. They fly extremely well. I've taken these things back, I don't know, 70, 80 feet and thrown these things, and they hold up really well. They're all steel, but they do come with these grip panels with this texture on them that feel really good in the hand. The reason why I like the CRKT Jenny Ren is because it gives you a lot of different options. You have a front bit here, you have a bit underneath here, okay? You have a bit on top, then you have a spike on the back, and then you got a bit under here. So basically from here all the way around you have a bit, and you can shape these differently to do different work with them. These things are great. They hold up really well, and they're just made pretty good, okay? I do enjoy the CRKT Jenny Ren because it gives you a lot of different options. So if you're looking for something a little bit more compact with some quality that'll give someone a lot of different options, consider the CRKT Jenny Ren as a Christmas present to someone you care about, or someone you know who's a sportsman who would use this thing the way it's supposed to be used. Next up on the list, guys, is the Council Tool Camp Carver. Unfortunately, I do not have that one on me because I gave it away to one of you as a giveaway. I have yet to get it. I don't know why. It's been in my Amazon cart for I don't know how long, and I keep passing it up. I don't know why, but I'm getting another one. Those things are great. They hold their retention. The edge retention holds very well. The handles are great. The handles are also really good for axe throwing because they're streamlined. They come out of the hand really nice. It's weighted really nice. It has a nice pole in the back to do hammering work. It's just a great hatchet. coming in around 140 some dollars. It is kind of expensive. However, I will tell you, totally worth the money. It totally is. And I'm not just saying that. I love that hatchet, and I don't know why I haven't gotten one. So if anybody out there wants to buy me a Christmas present, buy me a Council Tool Camp Carver and send it to me, and I'll be glad to throw it for you. I love that thing. That thing's great. But get one for your loved ones. It's made in the USA, and I'm sure they'll love it just as much as I do. So let's get into some budget felling axes. The Council Tool Boy's axe. I've done a review on this one, as you guys know, and I will tell you, number one, it's not a great flyer for axe throwing. However, it's really good for chopping. My 15-year-old son loves this axe for chopping. And of course, it's Council Tools, made in the USA, 28-inch handle with a nice heavy head. A lot of your weight is in your pole to strike that bit into the target whenever you're chopping. It's just a good little axe to have, and it's not very expensive, coming in around like 65 to 70 bucks. Council Tool, of course, is made in the USA, so if you care about that, that's where this is made at. Really good axe to have, felling axe, and it's not very expensive, and you get the Council Tool name. Try it out. It'd be a cool little gift to give somebody. If they're into axes, but they don't have Council Tool one, start them off with this one. The next one up on the list is the Cold Steel Trail Boss. I don't have it, and the reason why I don't have it, I gave it to one of you as a free giveaway. That thing is made by Cold Steel, and it is a really cool budget felling axe. Those things have got a ton of reviews on them and people talking about how they modified them and made them better. But there's a lot of reviews out there on how great they are. My experience with it, I did mess up my left arm, so I wasn't able to throw it a lot. But I did have a really good experience with it. And the person that I gave it away to asked me to modify it, which I did. Those things are really good. They're hafted on the handles normally very well, and they just hold up. You're not going to get the best quality out of them, but for the money, around $35 to $45, those things are pretty decent, and they're hard to beat for the money. The Husqvarna Carpenters axe. Now, of course, the one you buy is not going to look like this. However, it is my favorite budget axe. I have got a ton of time with this thing. Coming in around like 70, 75 bucks. Made in Sweden by Holbrook, and it comes with a Holbrook handle. Those Holbrook handles are beasts. Cool thing about the Husqvarna too is it'll take any 20-inch Holbrook handle. So you can buy it anywhere and put it on a head if you break the handle, which you'll have a hard time doing because these handles are beasts. The reason why I like these axes so much is because they bring a lot to the table. They're not the best axes, and they do come a little crude. So I would consider giving this to someone who already has experience with axes. But man, you can take all this steel up here in this Carpenter's axe and do cool designs like this. These things are awesome for axe throwing. You can take them all the way back triple rotations, and these things hit like a tank when they hit the target. You can also use them for chopping. You can also use them for carpentry work. Multi-purpose tool with the ability to do modifying and work out a really good axe if you know what you're doing. So consider the Husqvarna Carpenters axe. These things are great. Maybe you're looking to give somebody an axe that does a lot of splitting work, a lot of log work. I got you covered. The Fisker's X25 splitting axe. This thing is awesome. And the reason why I say it's awesome is because I've got a ton of time with it. Scandinavian axe with a polymer handle with an extremely heavy head on top. Has got a nice wedge up there to split logs with. I used this thing over the past winter, and this thing beat out 200 plus splitting axes, okay? This thing's extremely durable, and it's not very expensive, around like $50 or $60. They do make a few more models that are longer than this one. This one's got a 26-inch or 28-inch handle, I can't remember, but they make, I think it's the X32 or something, X20, X32, that's got a 30-some inch handle. So you do have a bunch of different options with the Fisker splitting axes, but man, this thing is awesome. I love this thing. My boys have a smaller version that they've used to split logs with, and they can overstrike, hit down here and not tear it up, not break it like you normally would with a wooden splitting axe handle. These things hold up, they're very versatile, and they just work. They just work for the price they work. So consider getting this for someone who does maybe a lot of splitting logs or does a lot of log work. These things are great to have as a backup axe or as a primary splitting axe. So consider the Scandinavian Fisker's X25. So let's talk about expensive felling axes. First one up on the list is the Brook Scandinavian axe, okay? These things are great. 26-inch handle. Okay, so they're a little bit smaller than a normal 28-inch felling axe, but it feels really good in the hand. Swedish axe with a nice hickory handle. Of course, you're going to get a nice hickory handle with Gränsfors, and of course, they have these heads on these handles really well, okay? Tempering job they do on these things are great. They're nice and sharp. They stay really nice and sharp, and normally speaking, the axe's heads don't normally come loose from the handle. These things would be great for someone who maybe already has a bunch of 28-inch felling axes, but wants something a little smaller. You could always get them this. Now, of course, you're going to pay a lot of money for this. It's northwards of over $200. However, the quality normally is there, and you're going to get a really good, smaller felling axe that you could put on a backpack if you needed to, or you could just kind of lightly bring it around, move it around. It's not really heavy. And that's one thing I will say about the Gränsfors Brook felling axes, especially the Scandinavian one. It feels uniform, meaning the head feels like it's not too heavy. It feels like it's in line with the handle and it's one, if that makes sense. I know that sounds crazy, but I've used this thing for a while, and I really do enjoy the Gränsfors Brook Scandinavian axes. This would be a great gift for anyone. The Holbrook Handle Montreal pattern felling axe. You guys know I've done a video on this one already. This right here is a great multi-purpose tool because they actually use this in axe throwing competitions, but you can also use this too for chopping. It's Swedish steel with a nice American hickory handle. Of course, it comes with an HB handle, which, guys, these things are tanks. You can beat them up all day. They won't break, okay? Normally speaking, they won't break. They're hafted on normally pretty well. They do come with a steel barrel wedge up at the top, and the tempering on them has done fairly well, okay? These things are really good because I like them for axe throwing. I normally only use them for axe throwing, but if I needed to bring it out and do some chopping work, I could. So if you have an axe thrower out there that wants a long felling axe, 28-inch handled felling axe for axe throwing, get them this one because they use this in competition, and it'd be something that they could get and practice with. It's coming in around like anywhere between like 130 to 140 bucks, but I would say after owning 2 of these and throwing these things for years, they're really great for multi-purpose work, and they're also great for axe throwers out there. Now, the last 2 up on the list for the expensive axes is the Gränsfors Brook small forest axe and the hunter's axe. The reason why I don't have the small forest axe is because I gave it to one of you as a free giveaway. Both of these, the small forest axe and the hunter's axe, are coming in a little over 200 bucks, like 205 bucks. These things are great. They're very compact at around like 19 to 20 inch long handles, but they're really nice. Like I said before with the Scandinavian axe, the axe head and the handle feel unison. They feel like they're in one when you're using them, okay? I've thrown the small forest axe. That thing was great for throwing. As you guys know, if you go back and check the video, I took that thing back for double and triple rotations. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. Those things are great. They hold their edge. They're really cool, and they're very compact. Now, the hunter's axe, which I have here, is a little bit different. It's got a little bit different of a handle. It's a little bit thicker in here, and it has a different shape to it where it kind of comes in like this. And you also have this little design down here in the handle for grip. The pole's a little different on the hunter's axe because it's made for skinning animals. So if you have a hunter out there that you want to get a really nice, expensive axe for, consider the Gränsfors Brook hunter's axe because they could use it for a lot of different things. It's pretty light. They can put it on a pack very easily, and it also has a skinning feature on the back of the pole to where if they do a lot of deer hunting and they do a lot of skinning, they could use this for a lot of different work on a deer or maybe elk or all kinds of different stuff. They could take this thing out, clear some branches, and then get to skinning an animal that they might take. So consider the Gränsfors Brook hunter's axe. These things are great. I'm going to propose this one. It's a little bit crazy. However, I'm crazy and I do crazy stuff. If you wanted to go really expensive and you know someone who has experience with axes or modifying axes, get them the Gränsfors Brook broad axe. This thing is coming anywhere between like $360 to $380. It doesn't look like this. However, it gives you a ton of steel to work with to create your own design. As you guys see here, I've done a video on this one called My Modern Day Dane Axe for Axe Throwing. I've taken this thing back and thrown it for double and triple rotations. This thing is weighing in at almost 4 pounds, and I've been able to throw this thing single-handed for distance. This thing is awesome. It comes with a really nice, huge bit that is profiled really well for axe throwing and for doing hewing work. The head is hafted on the handle really well. Like I said, I've thrown this thing really far for distance and hit, and the handle is yet to come loose. Like I said before, Gränsfors does a really good job hafting their axe heads on their handles. The handle's really cool too because it comes with this stamped pattern for grip so your hand doesn't slip off, but it's not too deep in there to where you can get a nice release out of it. So if you want to give somebody a really expensive axe, to give them some work to do some crazy work with, but you don't mind spending the money and you want them to have a really nice Swedish quality axe, consider the Gränsfors Brook broad axe. This thing is nuts. A lot of people aren't going to spend this much money on an axe, but I'm an axe freak. I'm going to. So maybe you're buying an axe for someone who doesn't care about chopping and splitting. They only want to do axe throwing. Got you covered. The World Axe Throwing League King of Diamonds. I've done a review on this one. As you guys know, I love the King of Diamonds. This axe right here is awesome. If you don't know who the World Axe Throwing League is, they are an organization that basically does axe throwing as a sport. And they produce their own line of axes. This one here is called the King of Diamonds, and it's probably my favorite one they produce. It's nice and heavy up front, which causes the bit to rotate really easily, and it flies extremely well for distance. Triple, double, single rotations. This is probably one of the better flying axes that I've experienced. It flies really well, it's weighted really well, and it flies really good. I think anybody could pick this thing up and throw it, and they'd really have a really good time with it. It's, of course, guys, it's upwards of over $100, but totally think it's worth it. The World Axe Throwing League King of Diamonds. If you have an axe thrower you're buying for this Christmas, give them this one. It's freaking awesome. My second favorite throwing axe that the World Axe Throwing League produces is the Butcher. Similar to the King of Diamonds, you have a bit heavy axe, which is going to rotate really fast, really quick. This thing is awesome, but it does have a little bit more weight in the back. So I like this one for single and double rotations, and that's about it. It flies really well. It sticks nice into the target, and it hits with some force, okay? It's similar to the King of Diamonds. However, I will say this one, for me, my personal opinion, is really good for single and doubles. That's where I like staying at it. But I will say that this thing flies better with a longer handle. As you can see here, this is not the handle it comes with. This is a longer handle I put on it. However, it gives you the option to do different things. If you think it's too heavy, you can put a longer handle on it. But all in all, the Butcher is a really good, dedicated throwing axe. You want more of a budget option? I got you. The Council Tool Flying Fox. What in... Oh my God. This is why people aren't watching. This hatchet right here is really good for axe throwing, but it's also designed to do a lot of chopping work too. So it is a multi-purpose tool. You'll get the nice Council Tool brand in this one, which means that you're going to get good quality. The edge retention on this holds really well. The handle's designed really nice, and it feels really good in the hand. And this thing flies really well for single, double, and triple rotations. I like this one because I like multi-purpose axes and hatchets, meaning that I can throw it and I can also use it for work. And that's what this is going to bring to you. It's going to come in at around like 40 to 50 bucks, somewhere in there. However, it's totally worth buying if you got someone who likes axe throwing, but also wants something that they can use for chopping or maybe do a little bit of splitting work. I don't know about this. I'd probably just use it for chopping. But someone who maybe does a lot of hiking, does a lot of camping, and you're like, hey, I know that they throw axes and they do a lot of hiking, camping, maybe do a lot of camping, firewood stuff. Consider the Council Tool Flying Fox. They can do both with it. It's weighted really well. It flies really nice in the air, and it chops pretty damn well. So consider this one. Okay, so if you want something a little bit more budget than that, and you just want to do axe throwing, I would consider Ned Foss, the all steel axes. The all steel axes from Ned Foss are normally pretty small, okay? And if you have like a small yard, or if you want to just throw some axes in the backyard, these would be great. They normally come in packs of 3 with a nice little sheath that you can put them all together in one. And they're not very expensive. They're between like 20 to 30 bucks all the way up to $60 depending on which model you get. But they hold up very well. The bits hold up very well. They take a lot of abuse. You can't break them because they're all steel, and they just fly really well. They're very thin, so you can throw them and get a nice throw. However, I will say the only con about these is they normally come with like rubber grips, and they'll break. But you can go to Walmart and get some rubber grips and re-grip them really fast and keep throwing again. So Ned Foss does make some really cool all steel axes. And you can turn them into games. We've done them for 4th of July parties in our backyard and just throwing them around. Older people really like throwing them. Kids like throwing them. Anybody can handle them because they're so light, but they throw really well. So consider those. However, I will say, and I'm keeping honest with you guys like always. Always going to keep it honest with you. I don't recommend buying Ned Foss's axes that come with wooden handles. They haven't figured out how to haft axes on wooden handles yet. They just haven't. Most of the axes that I've got from Ned Foss that had wooden handles on them had to be rehafted on new handles. They did. They either didn't fit properly when they came, or after a few throws, they started to loosen up. So if it was my opinion telling you, just being honest, I'd go with the all steel Ned Foss axes. I don't think you go wrong with them, and they'd be a really cool gift to give to somebody who wants to throw in their backyard and wants to throw small compact axes and have a good time with it. Check Ned Foss out. I know this video is taking forever long, guys, but I want to give you all the axes that I can give you, that I have experience with, that I think would be great to buy somebody. I don't want to leave anything out. So hopefully you've made it this far. So let's get into the stocking stuffers. What could you buy an axe person who already has all the axes they want? Maybe they don't want axes, but they would like some axe accessories. Let's go over those now. I just recently did a video on this, and I think it would be really cool to slip in someone's stocking. I don't know why so many people thought it was gimmicky. I don't think it's gimmicky at all. It held up really well. It did really well, which is the M-Tech Extreme Micro Hatchet. I would love to get this in my stocking or get it as a gift. I think the problem is that a lot of people don't know what they're doing. Just being honest with you guys. I think a lot of people out there don't know how to use tools and don't know how to use axes and knives and such. And they just see something and they freak out. In the right hands, this thing could do a lot, even though it's so small. It's very versatile. The edge on it is fairly, it holds up very well. It's $15. Anybody could buy this for anyone and put it in their stocking. Just me personally, I'd love it if my wife got me this and put it in my stocking. The M-Tech Extreme, you can get it on Amazon, 15 to 18 bucks. It's got G10 grip panels with a nice grip on it. It's got a multi-tool here for like bolt heads if you needed to use it. The edge on it is small, but it holds its edge. And if you guys go back and watch my video, I throw this thing and it throws very well. You can choke up with it. It's very light. You can put it in a glove box. You could put it in a backpack without taking up a lot of weight if you needed an edge or a multi-tool. This thing's great. I don't know why so many people had issues with me making this video. It comes with a nice nylon sheath. $15. Guys, you know that I've reviewed axes before that cost $100 or more that broke. $15 and this thing held up. I don't know if it's because it's made in China. That's why people have such a big deal with it. I don't know. It is what it is. Get the fuck over it. This thing works for $15. I'd buy it all day long and throw it. It's fun, and I'd use it as a multi-purpose tool. I'd put it in my car. I'd put it in my trunk, in my glove box, on my pack. It takes up no weight. Get it. This would be a cool little thing to give somebody in a stocking. Just my opinion. I'd be happy to get it. You want me to tell you guys that something doesn't work when it works? I'm not going to do that. If it works, I'm going to tell you it works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to say, hey, it doesn't work. $15? Not bad. And it's got a belt loop on the back. What else do you need? No one ever buys this for axe guys and gals or knife guys and gals. Whetstones. A way for us to sharpen our knives or our axes. Put a whetstone in someone's stocking. I recommend the King whetstone. They're fairly cheap on Amazon, but they hold up really well. They do a really good job of sharpening all my axes. I will say they don't last a heck of a long time. However, they come in really long bars, and you can cut them up in like 3 or 4 different pucks, and they'll last you a while, at least for the price. You can get the Gransfors Brook whetstone. I've used that one before too, and it's really good, but it's really expensive. $50 to $60 for just one puck. So I would try the King first. It's only about $15 to $18. You can give that to someone in their stocking, and they would have a really good time using it. $250 grit on one side, $1,000 on the other. Like I said, I've sharpened some of my $250 axes with that thing and gotten almost razor edges on them. If you know how to sharpen an axe, you could use that King whetstone and do really good work with that thing. So check it out. It's on Amazon, and I think anybody would be happy with that. Barrel wedges is another thing that no one considers. Throw some barrel wedges into someone's stocking that you know does a lot of axe work. Now, I know a lot of people out there don't like barrel wedges. They say they're ugly. They don't like the way they look at the top of the axe head. I get that. I understand that completely. But for axe throwing, I will say those things are great. When you smash those things in at the top of an axe, they splay the wood over top of the axe head. Now, you don't have to do that for normal chopping and splitting work, but for axe throwing, the barrel wedges work great, because if you have an over rotation and smack the eye onto the target, the steel barrel wedge will prevent the axe handle from going down and making the axe head comes loose. Basically what happens is it takes a lot of the brunt of the force if you do an over rotation. So consider getting your loved one or your friend or whoever it is you're buying a gift for some barrel wedges if you know they're into axes or half-in axes. They'll come into play if they do a lot of axe throwing. Anybody consider a leather sling or a sheath? I would love a leather sling. Leather slings are basically, you put the axe into the sling, you throw it over your back, you drape it across your chest so that way you have an axe on your back and you can use your hands. Now you might need to get some dimensions from the axe that you're buying the leather sling for, but they have universal ones. Whiskey River has them. That would be an awesome present. I would love a leather sling. That'd be awesome to be able to throw the axe on my back, strap it across my chest, and use my hands for everyday work, and I know I have an axe on my back. Now, as far as sheaths go, you would just need the bit. Now, if someone has a Hilco Vuck, hatchet or a council tool hatchet, if you can get the model, you can go on their website and buy a sheath specifically for that axe. So I would do a little bit of research if you buy a sheath for a hatchet or an axe. See if you can get the model and then buy the appropriate sheath for the axe. But that would be really cool. I know a lot of people run around with axes and hatchets without sheaths on them. You guys really should get some sheaths. They're worth it in the end. Tools are a good stocking stuffer. Maybe you have a little bit of knowledge yourself and you know what someone else would like. Wooden mallet, a hickory wooden mallet, about 3 pounds, would be a great gift. Spoke shave, draw knife, any of those would be great. I mean, I would love to get a spoke shave or a draw knife for Christmas. It doesn't even have to be a really expensive one. It could be just a cheaper one that I could learn on if I was getting into woodworking and half-in axes. Any type of tool would be great. Spoke shaves, draw knives, I would love any of those. Now, if you know what you're doing, you could always get some files. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, email me. I'll help you out, or ask a relative or a friend. But get some files, wooden and metal files. I always use files. I use Baco because they're cheap and they last a decent amount. Japanese razor saws are a good option too. But consider wood and metal files. I know I go through those things like crazy all the time. They wear out pretty quick and I got to get another one. So consider files. I know a lot of woodworkers and axe hafters and axe throwers. They go through files like crazy, so consider those. I know this is an axe video, but put a knife in someone's stocking. To this day, I'll still take an axe outside and fit a handle down with a knife. I do. They're great. They're great multi-purpose tools. They're great because you can just throw them right in your pocket. They work just like a rasp or a file. If you needed them in a pinch, you could just pull it out of your pocket and use it if you were in the field with an axe and you need to thin a handle down, or you have a burr in your handle, or you hit your handle wrong and you take a chunk out and it's rubbing up against your hand. Pull your knife out, go to work. Knives are great. Consider putting a knife in someone's stocking. Even axe guys, they love knives. So you've made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. If you've made it here and you're at the end and you're going, Wes, I have no idea what axe to buy. I still don't understand what you're talking about. And even the accessories, I'm lost. I don't know what you're talking about. Buy merch. Buy her or him merch. Beanies, sweatshirts, hats, gloves, whatever the case may be. Go over to Whiskey River and go on there. They have a bunch of different merch. You can buy them hats, flannels, jackets, sweatshirts, gloves, whatever the case may be. You can buy some universal gifts that any axe lover would love. I know that if I woke up Christmas morning and I went in my hatchet, went to my stocking or opened up a present and I got a really cool axe sweatshirt or beanie or something like that, I'd be happy with that too. That'd be really cool. So consider merch or clothing that has something to do with axes or axe throwing. I'm sure anyone would love that. And I think you can even go over the World Axe Throwing League website, and I think they have merch on there too. Average view duration, 6 minutes. This video is going to be forever long. It is what it is. I don't care if 3/4 of you spend 6 minutes on this, there's going to be at least 20 or 30 of you that make it all the way through here. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sticking through this entire video because you either like it, are interested, or just want to show a little bit of respect. I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. I know that I didn't cover every axe out there. I know there's probably better axes, but these are axes that I've held in my hand, that I've thrown, that I've experienced, that I can come back and say to you, I feel confident in recommending them to you. Now, is every axe that you buy going to be as great as the one that I've got or I've experienced? Of course not. They're a product. I could go buy something and be great, and you could go buy something and it not be great. It doesn't matter what it is. But most of the time when I've used these products, and I've got more than one sample of just about all of these, they've been really well. So keep that in mind. I didn't cover everything, and I'm sure there's better things out there, but these are ones that I've held my hand, that I've thrown, and I've experienced with time. And I'm confidently telling you, I think these would make really good presents or gifts to some of your family members or friends. So hopefully that gave you some information on what you could buy some relatives, friends, loved ones for Christmas if you know they're into axes or axe throwing. Gave you a bunch of different options. Go crazy with it. Buy them all kinds of crazy stuff. Show them you love them. Buy them some expensive stuff or buy them a bunch of budget stuff that I recommended. It's all great stuff. I think telling you anything's good that I've never experienced before is kind of disingenuous, right? I'm not going to promote something that I've never experienced or never used before. I don't like doing that. So that's the end of the video. If you have any questions, hopefully you made it to the end of the video. If you have any questions, just email me. Write in the comment section. I'll get back with you. But until next time, guys, see ya.